The physical agility examination consists of 8 exercises which will test for strength, endurance, and coordination. You perform all of the exercises while wearing a self-contained breathing apparatus, otherwise known as an SCBA unit. You will also be required to wear work gloves unless specifically instructed otherwise in the directions of the exercise. You will be allowed to wear your own work gloves or a pair issued by the fire department. You must successfully complete each of the 8 exercises in the order that they are listed. If you fail to successfully complete any of the exercises, then you will have failed the agility examination and will not be allowed to continue on to the next exercise. The pass-fail criteria for these exercises are based on a maximum time standard for the completion of each exercise. You must complete each exercise within the time allotted for that exercise. Exercise 1, the ladder climb. You will climb a 28-foot ladder at a steady pace until you are standing on a rung that will be marked with tape about 5 rungs from the top. A shoelace will be tied to one of the top rungs. While standing on the taped rung, you will untie the shoelace and completely remove it from the rung and hold it out so that the proctor below can see it. Once the proctor acknowledges that the lace has been removed, you will then retie it to the same rung using a bow knot. Gloves may be removed to untie and retie the shoelace, but must be put back on before descending the ladder. As soon as the shoelace has been retied to the proper rung, you will then climb down from the ladder at a steady pace. While performing this exercise, you will be attached to a safety harness and rope to protect against falling. You will not receive extra credit for climbing up or down the ladder quickly. However, if you take longer than 3 minutes to complete the entire exercise, or pause longer than 5 seconds on any rung other than the taped rung, you will fail the exercise and will not be allowed to complete the remainder of the physical agility exam. Exercise 2, pike pole push and pike pole pull. There are 2 parts to this exercise. Part 1 tests for upward thrusting ability and Part 2 tests for downward pulling ability. First, you will insert the pointed tip of a pike pole into a ring that is attached to a cable with 40 pounds of weight. The proctor will give a signal to start, at which point you will be required to start pushing the pole upwards, raising the tip of the pole to the upper marked line on the wall. You will then lower the tip of the pole to the lower marking, making sure that the weight does not touch the floor. You must complete 13 repetitions of this exercise successfully within 30 seconds to pass. If the ring should come off the pike pole during the repetitions, you will have failed this exercise. For part 2 of this exercise, you will insert the hook end of a pike pole onto a ring attached to a cable with 45 pounds of weight. At the signal given by the proctor, you will begin performing downward pulls, thus raising the weight located within a tube to the upper marked line on the tube. You will then lower the weight to the lower marked line on the tube, making sure that the weight does not touch the floor. You will then repeat this movement, completing 50 repetitions within 90 seconds to pass the station. Should the ring come off the pike pole or should the weight at any time touch the floor before 50 repetitions are completed, you will have failed this exercise. Exercise 3, height and reach. At the starting signal, you will lift a ladder off the floor using both hands and place it onto 2 brackets attached to a wall. Once the ladder has been hung on the wall, you will take a few steps back and clap your hands. You will then grasp the ladder with both hands, lift it off the brackets, and place the ladder back onto the floor in its original position. You will need to perform this exercise within 30 seconds and must not lose control of the ladder at any time in order to pass this exercise. Exercise 4, saw pull. At the start signal, you will begin pulling the starting rope of a power saw to a distance marked on the rope. You will need to pull the rope in this manner a minimum of 5 times within a 15-second time period to pass this exercise. Exercise 5, balance beam. While holding a Halligan tool, you will walk from one end of a 5 1/4 inch wide by 14-foot long wooden beam to the other end and then turn around and walk back to the starting position. This is to be done without touching the floor with one or both feet during any of the exercise. If you fall off or touch the floor with one or both feet while walking the beam, you will be given a second opportunity to successfully complete the exercise as described. If a second attempt is needed, you will have to start from the beginning point on the beam. If you fail the second attempt, you will have failed the exercise and will not be allowed to continue on. Exercise 6, hose coupling. While facing the fire engine at the start signal, you'll pick up the hose on the left and connect it to the correct pump panel connection by screwing the threaded connection until tight. You will then pick up the other hose and attach it to the correct pump panel connection, screwing it on until tight. Once the couplings are attached, the proctor will check for proper connections. If needed, you shall correct the connection. Once the proctor states that both connections are okay, you will then disconnect the hose couplings, starting with the coupling on the left, and place them both back onto the floor in their original positions. This exercise must be completed within 60 seconds to pass. Exercise 7, Tunnel Maze Crawl. While wearing a blacked out SCBA mask and helmet, at the start signal, you will crawl on your knees along the entire length of a maze using your hands to feel your way throughout. You must not remove the face mask or stand up at any point while going through the maze, and you must crawl completely past the maze exit in order to finish. You will have 75 seconds to complete the crawl through the maze in order to pass. Exercise 8, Hose Carry Dummy Drag. At the proctor's signal, you will pick up and place on your shoulder a folded hose pack. You will then carry the hose pack up and then back down a full flight of stairs and place the hose pack back onto the ground at the starting point. This is to be done without dropping or removing the hose from your shoulder at any point. Next, you will proceed to an area where a weighted dummy is lying on the floor. You will then pick the dummy up by its underarms and drag it 40 feet across the room and back, crossing the finished starting line for a total of 80 feet. You must complete this exercise within 90 seconds to pass. Good luck on the candidate physical agility testing for the City of Tonawanda Fire Department.